You're listening to episode 91, How to Explain the COVID-19 Vaccine to Kids. Hello, my friends. We are back with another 12-minute talk, which means we're going to take a topic that is relevant to all parents or parents who have kiddos with an illness or medical condition or disability, and we try to demystify some of the language around these really complex subjects. So, it's just a solo episode with me today. I know. I love it when we get to have other expert guests on here, but you're stuck with me, and don't worry, it's a quick one. So today, we are going to be talking about the COVID-19 vaccine and how to talk about it with kids. So I'm going to give you, as I do when we talk about medical experiences, the caveat that nothing that I say are the exact words that you have to use. These are just general ideas and suggestions, and you know your child best, and I can give you all of the quote unquote right things to say, but they may not be right for your child. So you're really going to have to kind of dig deep on that relationship, and you know them best, and just trust that instinct. So this is not meant to be an episode that talks about you should absolutely get your child vaccinated. That is not my area of expertise. That is an area for you to talk about with your child's doctor and your family, and a conclusion that you come to on your own. But if you are deciding to get the vaccine, I think it's important to have a conversation with your child ahead of time. And so that's what we're talking about today. So I'm going to do things a little differently with this 12-minute talk. And at the end of kind of this synopsis that I'm going to give you, the parent, I'm going to empower you to have this conversation with your kids. But I also want to give you an option to play this podcast with your kids. And it could be a starter conversation and just a tool that you use to talk with your kids. So I'm going to give an explanation directly to your child towards the end of this podcast. So if you want to skip forward to minute 10, between 10 and 11, that's where we're going to talk directly to your child. So once you have made the decision to get your child vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine, I think you can approach it in one of two ways. I think there needs to be a level of preparation and understanding, especially for those kids who are school age and older and have been hearing COVID-19, they've been hearing coronavirus, they know they've seen masks, their world has been different for the past couple of years. And so I think it's important to acknowledge that, and that you come with them with complete openness and support to have this conversation. Another way you can approach this, and I think as long as you leave this conversation open-ended for your child to be able to ask questions, this is a perfectly acceptable way to do it. But you can very simply say, hey, we get vaccines at the doctor every year. This is just kind of what we've decided to do as a family. It helps protect other people. It helps protect us from diseases. And so when we go get our flu vaccine this year, we're also going to be getting a COVID-19 vaccine at some point. And then allow them to ask questions. But you can kind of decide which way you want to start approaching the conversation. So moving forward from the why are we having this conversation, what do we need to talk about, how do we start the preparation portion? And I think a good way to start is to talk about how you've been through the experience already. I assume that if your child is going to get one, that means that you've had one too. So you have the added bonus on building on your own prior experience with the vaccine. And that already just kind of helps take the pressure off some kids. They know that mom and dad got it, and look at mom and dad, they're okay. Or mom and grandpa or grandma and aunt or whoever it is that you want to relate to. Just find a relatable person who has already gone through this experience, and that kind of helps set the stage for kids to get prepared for this. So in the preparation portion of this conversation, you have related to them because you've gone through the experience before. And now we want to prepare them and kind of normalize the experience. Let's talk about things that they've already done before that will be similar. Hey, you've already gone to the doctor's office before. You've gotten a vaccine before. You got this one, you got this one, you got that one, you got this one. And just kind of for them, help put it into perspective that they've gone through and they've done this experience before. They've already mastered it. So as we go through that, we've now empowered them to know they've already done something very similar before. We're going to prepare them using sequence of events and sensory experiences. So literally walk your child through, okay, we're going to go to the doctor's office. We're going to go inside. I'll get to stay with you the entire time. We'll probably get put into a room. They'll have to clean your arm or your leg. I don't know which one they're going to use. We can ask the doctor, and this is a great time to say, say, hey, do you have a choice? Do you have a preference of what you'd like to use? There may not be a choice at the doctor's office, but hey, we can always give it a try. So then you want to say, you remember how that cold feeling is when they have to clean your arm, that like little wet wipe that they use? That's actually an alcohol wipe. It usually looks like a white square. So that's what they'll use, and they'll clean your arm and they'll let it dry. And then it's time to actually get the medication. And the medication comes in the form of a small poke, which is a needle, which goes into your arm. It delivers the medicine. And then as soon as the medicine is in for about 1 or 2 seconds, the needle comes out and a Band-Aid goes on, and that's when you know that it's over. We have a couple of choices that we can do while you get that vaccine. You could probably sit in mom or dad's lap. You could hold hands. And so this is when we have gone over what the sequence of events is, and now you're starting to empower your child with choices that they can make. This is a good time to kind of check in and see what your child's reaction is. Are they going to have questions? Are they starting to get an emotional response? I can tell you specifically, my son does not obviously like needles, did not like shots. He's not one of those kiddos who's just easygoing. Sure, let's go get it done. No, he has a real emotional response to thinking that he might be in pain. And so this is a time where I would connect with him and just validate, yeah, shots are no fun. Nobody really likes them. I actually have never met a person who likes shots. So you and everybody else feel the exact same way. But this is not a choice to get. This is something we've decided as a family. And so we're going to go through with it. Let's see how we can make it the best and the easiest possible. So we're acknowledging feelings. We're understanding where they're coming from. We're offering validation. And you're also being really firm and consistent. And we can do that with compassion as you tell your child what's going to need to happen. Another part of the preparation process that I think is important is visualizing the end. So when it is over, when do we know that the pain is done and you get to move on? That's when you put the Band-Aid on and visualize with your child walking out, getting into the car and driving away. I think that's an important part of this conversation at the beginning. So as I am making this 12-minute talk for you all, it hasn't come out whether or not children will need 1 or 2 vaccines specifically. So I am going to act as if we have to get 2 because that is probably the more challenging conversation to have. I think up front, it's important to say from the beginning, this is going to require 2 different times of getting this specific medication. And so we're going to go now, and you're only going to get 1, and then in a couple weeks, you'll get another one. Everything is going to remain the same. The experiences will be the same, and we know you'll be able to get through both of them. So another reason that it's important to kind of have this check-in period after the shot is actually done, talk about what worked well. What went well when we went into the doctor's office? How was the cleaning part? What did that feel like? Did you get the Band-Aid that you wanted? What would we change for next time? Would you want to make maybe a comfort item or a squeezy ball or a fidget spinner when you have to get this done? And really just go through the experience. It doesn't have to be long. It can be a 10-second conversation. Hey, what was good? What was bad? Hey, what are we going to do different for next time? So that is my advice for talking with your kid about the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, another part of the vaccine, which may be different from prior experiences with vaccines, is that kids may not feel well after. Adults, I know, have had the experience of about 48 to 72 hours of not feeling great. And so I think you can kind of take that as it comes and gauge how your child's doing with the information so far. If they've got a lot of questions, I think that might be something you can bring up. Like, yeah, I didn't feel well after, but after a couple days, I got better. What really helped me was laying down and taking extra naps and making sure I was drinking a lot of water. So just something very simple to acknowledge that might be a part of this vaccine experience as well. And when we return from this quick break, I am going to talk directly to your child. So feel free to play this with them in the car or sitting down, and y'all could just have this conversation as a family, and I'm going to help you lead it. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie. I'm sad that I don't get to be with you in person to be able to chat with you about this face-to-face, because I think that's way more fun to be able to get to meet each other in real life. But this is the way we're going to do it, and so you get to hear my voice. So my job is what's called a child life specialist, and you may have never heard of that before, and that is totally okay. I like to think that my job is kind of like a teacher in the hospital. So we work with doctors and nurses, and we help kids understand why they have to come into the hospital, why they have to have certain medicines, and how to deal with all of the stuff that comes with it. So just like your teacher helps you learn about math, I help you learn about the doctor stuff. So I'm here to chat with you and your family today because I'm sure you've heard the words COVID-19 or coronavirus before. And if you've heard that word, you know that's why we're wearing masks in a lot of places. Maybe you had to stay home from school last year. It's caused a lot of change. But one thing that is a change is that they have developed a medication which helps stop the spread of COVID-19. So that means that the disease itself will start to go away slowly but surely within our communities. And the more people that get this medication to help stop the spread of COVID-19, the faster it's going to go away. So I'm here to talk with you about how kids get this very specific vaccine. So first of all, what is a vaccine? You might be wondering that. It's actually spelled vaccine, not VAX, which is kind of how I think it sounds, vaccine. So what this is a medication that's made so special through lots and lots of testing to actually give your body a little bit of the virus that's making you sick. But because it is so teeny tiny, it actually helps your body become so smart to fight it if you really were to get infected. Your body is so super smart. It's pretty amazing. So the way you get this vaccine is just like when you go to the doctor and you have to get other kind of medications for vaccines. So you'll go into the doctor, you'll be able to take an adult with you, they'll help drive you there. You'll go inside, you'll meet with your nurse. I bet they'll have mom or dad or a caregiver that's with you sign a form. They're going to have you sit probably either in a chair or on a bed. And this, guys, I'm going to tell you a secret. You can ask for yourself to be like, hey, can I sit in the chair or I'd rather sit on the bed? This is a choice you might get to make. So I say, if you could make a choice, let's ask. You are in charge of your body, so maybe you can ask where you get to sit. There's always a chance that they may say no, and that's okay, but at least we did our best asking our question. After you sit down, they're going to tell you, okay, so we're going to look at your arm or your leg today. And whichever one we're going to choose, we need to clean it first to make sure that there's no germs. So they're going to take looks like a little white square tissue, and it feels kind of cold and wet. It's got some special antiseptic in it that helps clean your arm to make your arm super, super clean. Or maybe they'll be using your leg. It's just a tiny little spot that they're going to clean about the size of the quarter. I've been with lots of kids before and they say that it just feels kind of cold, but it's not too bad. The next step is when they're going to actually put the medicine inside your body. So remember, it's the super smart medicine that's going to help so many people, including yourself and your family. So the medicine does go in with a small little poke. And a poke is a tiny little needle that has to get through the entrance of your skin. It doesn't go too far. It just goes a little bit. And then the medicine goes drip, 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 drip inside your arm or your leg, and the needle comes out. So in total, that little needle is in there for about 2 to 3 seconds. Let's count that together. 1, 2, 3. Hey, guess what? If you were getting your vaccine, you would already be done with it. After that's done, they put a Band-Aid on. And guys, this is another thing I think you could do is bring a fun Band-Aid so you get to choose which Band-Aid you get afterwards. I think that's a good idea. So that's done. You'll say thanks to the nurse. You'll be done. You'll hop off. You'll walk out of the doctor's office, get back in your car, and there you go. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. If you or your mom or your dad or whoever you're sitting with right now, maybe it's even your teacher, have any questions, just let me know and we can help answer them. And all I want you to know is that you are so smart. I know that you can get through all of this, and we are so proud of everything that you're doing. I hope you're proud of yourself too. All right, kids and parents, thanks so much for listening, and we will be back next week with another parent story. Thank you for listening to the Child Life On Call podcast. I'm your host, Katie Taylor, and you can follow us at Child Life On Call on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please rate and review to make it easier for other families to find us. We have cute merch available at www.bonfire.com/store/childlifeoncall, and you can listen to more episodes and find resources at childlifepodcast.com.